I'm Aaron Brooks, and I'm the 86 kilo men's freestyle wrestling representative for Team USA. So I started wrestling when I was 5 years old, and no one in my family ever wrestled, so it's kind of a new thing for me and my older brother. Really just being in Maryland, it wasn't too known for wrestling, and I just think I was very blessed to live kind of borderline Pennsylvania, to where that's where wrestling lives. It's just PA in general. And so my dad, he kind of saw that we were good at a young age, and when we told him how good we wanted to be, at least me, he took it serious. And ever since then, I've just been like on this journey of just trying to wrestle the best and be the best. So yeah, my family's helped me a lot, and obviously not just wrestling. I just think whether it be the drive that they've passed down to me, loving me in tough times, you know, always being there for me, and also just love me for who I am, not making things bigger than what they are. Like, I think one thing that was always just different going home at first, especially the past couple of years, was just being looked at different. Or it's like, oh, you're this, you're that. My family is always like, you're Aaron, the one we've known since you were a kid. So I think that helps me a lot in times like this where life moves fast and it's like remaining the same, you know. My first memory of actually watching the Olympics, I think of just Jordan Burroughs in London. Like, I started wrestling when I was 5, and I would watch college wrestling. Me and my family would watch college wrestling from like 2008 to 2011. And then Burroughs kind of hit the scene in 2011. And I'm like, everyone, like the whole country was kind of following him because USA Wrestling was kind of going through it at the time. And then Burroughs comes out. But I was still younger, but I'm like, who is this guy? And I watched him at Worlds and the next year at the Olympics. And I was just like, yeah, it was pretty cool. Someone that I definitely looked up to at the time. I think Coach Kell preached a lot. It's just gratitude. I think it transcends to a lot of stuff. I think learning that gratitude is it's like a choice versus I'm just saying it. Like, you have to choose to be grateful. And I think being present and grateful go hand in hand. Me personally, I don't think you can be grateful if you're not present, because it's like your head's everywhere else but what's in front of you right now. In anything, there's like self-doubt. I would just say that's the biggest thing, self-doubt, and then just for me, self-sabotage. You know, I think a lot of that starts with the mental, and then that's when you do physical things to self-sabotage. But I think there's always gonna be that, no matter what you're doing, whatever career, there's always that self-doubt, the self-sabotage, moments where that presents itself. And I just think me growing closer to the Lord is what really helped me learn to get over those things, but also how to work through them. I think like just the peace that I have going throughout my life, and then I look at wrestling, it's just like a small reflection of that, to where I know regardless what happens, I'm set up, I'm good, and that's peace for me to just go be free and wrestle hard. You know, God can do things for you, but we do have free will, so I think those times where I've had to actually act on it has helped me a lot. Matches is a perfect time to do it, because like at the end of the day, we have free will, and so big matches, big tournaments, like that's been a time for me to choose that. If I'm talking to the next generation, it's to move that way, because the times I try to do things myself, it doesn't usually work out. Like there's too many things that can go the wrong way. And I think when you put your faith and trust in Him and you're living by Him, you know that He's overall, so He's gonna guide you. Especially this summer, like I feel really good. It's been really coming together. I practice once a day, but you can come in. There's times if I'm cutting weight, I work out in the morning, but the typical day in State College looks like we practice at 1:30. Usually people are there at like 1:15 already playing dodgeball. Then 1:30 mark hits, we go in the bleachers. Coach Kell kind of gives us the breakdown of what today's gonna look like. Play a little more dodgeball after that, then get into our workout, whatever it may be. Might be live that day, might be skill-based, might be on your own, and then leave, go home, kick it, repeat. But high school and college, I have a lot of good memories with my teammates and a lot of good matches. It's competitive, but it's like brotherly too. We know we're gonna compete against each other, but it's also like, over that, you're my brother. So I'm not gonna make it weird. I'm not gonna, you know, wish harm against you. Not living like we're looking at someone as an opponent, because there's a lot of that in our room, right? The same weight class. Like a lot of our guys are wrestling each other. From what I've seen in the room, at the times where I've gotten really good at wrestling in that room, were the times where I'm like, okay, this guy can help me. We're all gonna get better together because we're at the top, so let's work together instead of destroy each other.
Talk about your experiences with the trials, you know, obviously it's State College.
Yeah, that was fire. Cause like, I mean, everything, it's like a home match with Penn State. So wake up in my bed, I know what's grocery store, I know where everything's at. Like if you go somewhere else, you walk into a different Walmart, like it's still Walmart, but it's different. So I knew like, I'm just at home, and that helped a lot. Especially with that weight cut, it was my first time getting down to weight like that, 86 kilos since October. It was just good, you know, my own sauna that we have, so it was nice. And I think also just for my family, so it's pretty close. So everyone was kind of able to make it up and watch, so it was cool. You know, I told him I love him. You know, he's one of the first guys to make this program what it is. You know, him and a couple guys, Quinn Wright. You know, so it's been a blessing being around him, watching what he does, and he definitely changed, made history in wrestling. I knew he was the guy in the finals, but also knew there was a lot of other good guys in the tournament. So it really wasn't until like after the challenge bracket final, I was like, okay, You know, now I know that's who I'm wrestling. Because before I'm like, I could lose. Like, I'm not gonna put an expectation on it. Wrestling him last year, and just like anyone I've wrestled previously, like just learning things. Like even if it's someone that I beat, like I still learn things from wrestling them. I just think it was about being present and applying those things versus like being a meathead kinda. Like I was like, I learned some stuff wrestling him. You go overseas, you know you're gonna get mean mugged by the foreigners and the opponents. You know, it's a little different. It's a pro because you got that experience already. You experience that early on to where it's okay, I'm just doing what I've been doing. Just be present, I think is like the main thing, and that's anywhere. But it's hard to be present sometimes when it's something you're not used to. So I just remind myself, be present no matter what happens. Because different area, different water, different food brands, different languages, just be present. This was at U23s, actually like in October, but I'm getting warmed up. And I hadn't wrestled in a world championship in a while, but I'm getting warmed up and I see like all these guys like smacking and like breathing heavy. And I'm like, all right, let me lock in real quick. And then I was like, no, absolutely not. Like, that's not me. And I started laughing. I'm like, don't take yourself too serious, like go wrestle. So I think for me, like walking with the Lord, and then also remember, I'm like, it's just wrestling. Especially these next couple months or next month, the whole environment around me is gonna be serious. So I just gotta remind myself, like, don't be too serious, you know? It's pretty cool, like the Olympics itself, because there's world championships every year. But I would say just seeing like maybe the Olympic rings when I walk out, that's probably gonna be pretty cool. Like I'm like not much really gets me excited, but I just think seeing like the Olympic rings in the arena is gonna be pretty cool. My overall goal, like just 100% honest, is just to go out there and bear the fruits of the Spirit. So I just want to be a beacon of joy, peace, love, self-control, meekness. Like anything that happens outside of that, I don't really care. But for me is go out there and be that light. What happens, happens. But that's my goal, is to make sure I go out there and I bear the fruits of the Spirit. I just want to wrestle how I wrestle, have fun with it. Just be myself, be who God made me to be. The past couple of years, like just been molding my style. God's been molding my style, because at the beginning it was like a lot of this, a lot of pressure, but then the past couple of years I'm like, well, God gave me a lot of speed, a lot of fakes, a lot of distance. So kind of like mixing those two together. Just, I guess, not saying like me in my prime or peak, but like a pretty cool version of myself I feel is here. Anything outside of that, cool.